Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to my presentation showcasing the Symbolum, a selection of Symbolum compositions with an introduction to the instrument. At the beginning, you could hear a piece called Prelude Number 1 from Suite G Major Number 1 from Johann Sebastian Bach. And I would like to say at the beginning that I'm very grateful and immensely proud that I could make this presentation for Czech Center New York. As someone who's coming from the Czech Republic, it's very important for me to share my culture. And the best way for me to do so is through my biggest passion, which has been the music. And my tool for sharing this passion through music has been this instrument, which is called the Symbolum. And throughout this evening, you will have a chance to hear what this instrument is all about. You will have different pieces, you will hear different pieces. You will hear something about the history. You will see and hear different ways of using this instrument. And it's all going to be connected with lots of music, which I'm very excited to share with you. At the beginning, I would like to say Dobrý večer, Zhao Shanghao, and good evening, because we have people who are watching from the Czech Republic, as well from China, and for sure we have people who are watching from the United States. I'm very happy that I could give this presentation online, even though I would love to do this in person so it can be more interesting and it can be more interactive. However, I'm very happy that I can have this online. So I would encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity, maybe grab your favorite snack, a glass of wine, or any kind of refreshments that you very like. Make yourself comfortable, and let's just start. So my name is Matěj Číp, and I like to call myself the Cimbalom Guy. And at the beginning of each lecture I like to give, I like to ask the people, do you know about the Symbolum or about the dulcimer? And when I ask this question, usually around 10% or maybe sometimes even less, maybe 5% of the people have ever heard about the Symbolum. However, most of them, they already heard about the dulcimer, but it's important to make a distinction between these two instruments as they are not completely the same. They belong to the same instrumental family, but they are quite different. The Symbolum, the instrument I play here, and I've been playing for many years, it's a concert instrument which is fully chromatic, and it's almost meant to be to concert stages, to play classical music, to play different pieces which can be compared with other instruments as well. When it comes to dulcimer, it's also a very amazing and beautiful instrument. However, it's less developed. It doesn't have a pedal system, doesn't have a damping system. Usually it's not chromatic. Usually it's only diatonic. So the difference is on a place, and it's important to stress this out. So I played the Symbolum, the modern version of the dulcimer. I hope you will remember this, and next time, or maybe after this lecture is over, when you will hear or see the Symbolum in person, you will be able to recognize it and tell the difference as well. So I'm going to tell you something about the Symbolum, as well as I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. So the Symbolum is originally an Hungarian instrument. But the great thing about the Symbolum history is that since it's a Hungarian instrument, even the maker, just the maker was a person who originally came from the Czech Republic. So even though sometimes it's considered a national Hungarian instrument, it's also deeply connected with the Czech culture. So you can see this is Hungary when the Symbolum, the modern version, modern look of the Symbolum is originally from. Symbolum belongs to the Struck horophones family. When I have people asking me, hey, Matěj, what is the Symbolum? Can you explain it to me? Because there's many people, especially in the United States, they have never seen and never heard about the Symbolum. So my basic comparison, my basic description of the instrument is basically imagine the piano, which would have an open lid, and you would have seen so many strings. And instead of using keyboard, you would just take your hands, grab two mallets, and hit the strings by your hands. So this is how I would basically describe the Symbolum. So it might see it's a percussive instrument. For sure, we are using percussive technique to make the sound. However, the sound can be very beautiful, full, magical, mesmerizing. So even though it's a percussive instrument, it's not just only meters and about the rhythms. It's also about the deep sounds and deep connections between the performer and the instrument. So that's why it belongs to Struck horophones family. Regular Symbolum have 133 strings. However, I have this special type of the Symbolum, which is a concert Symbolum of the third generation by one of the best Symbolum manufacturer. And this Symbolum has 136 strings because this Symbolum is meant to be built for concert purposes. So it can be comparable with instruments such as piano, or it can be placed into the orchestra. So when you hear the orchestra and when you hear the Symbolum with the orchestra, you're able to recognize this sound. Since I have these 3 extra strings on the bottom, the whole sound of the Symbolum is more robust and more full. So I'm very happy to have this Symbolum here in the United States. Symbolum is fully chromatic. As I mentioned before, dulcimers usually are not, but Symbolum is fully chromatic. What is very specific about Symbolum is its structure. And that's why the sound of the Symbolum can be so beautiful and so enchanting, because the Symbolum is developed and is structured by two resonating spaces. It has two soundboards, the top soundboard, as well as it has the bottom soundboard. And inside there is also a lot of things. I will show you pictures later, but these two soundboards are connected and closed by a rim. And when I hit the strings, I'll show you the picture here. So on the top soundboard, you have so many pins. On those pins, you have bridges. And on those bridges, you have strings, which are doing together quite a big of tension. And when you hit a string, this is how you make the sound, because the sound go all the way through the sound post, all the way through the soundboards, and it kind of culminate inside of the Symbolum, and then through the two holes which are placed on the side of the Symbolum, you can hear this amazing sound. And since it's a closed resonating space, that's a very characteristic for Symbolum, because then you can hear so many harmonics, which are very beautiful and very magical, as I mentioned before. What is also cool about Symbolum, that Symbolum has 26 sound posts. These are these wooden small posts, which are very critical when it comes to the Symbolum sound. Each manufacturer, each Symbolum luthier has their own know-how how to place these sound posts. And it's very critical to place them in the right spot, because then it will influence the tuning system. It could influence the sound so much. So this know-how is very, very important. And what about me? I'm originally from the Czech Republic, as I said at the beginning, and as you could tell by this event. So this is Czech Republic, right in the middle of Europe. It's a Central European country. And I've been playing the Symbolum since the age of 8. And I've been very fortunate to have this picture, which is one of my very first concerts I ever had. This is a concert which I had together with my brother. And it's very great because I still remember the feeling, how it felt exactly at that moment. And it was very strong. I was very nervous, but on the other hand, I also enjoyed it because it was very important for me to do so. I studied at a music elementary school in Valašské Meziříčí, which is a very cool thing about the Czech Republic, because our music education system is well developed. And we can attend these elementary music schools, which are actually free time activity schools throughout the year, and we can visit them and start studying them since the age of 6, which I think provides so many people in Czech Republic a very good basics when it comes to music education and to their music abilities. It's almost for free because you pay around $100 per year for the whole process of studying at the elementary music school. And besides your instrument to choose to study, you can also have the basics of music theory, some music history. And I've been studying under the professor Ruzhena Dětská, who you can see in this picture. And I'm very thankful that I could meet this person in my life, because she has been the main reason why I perceived playing the Symbolum. Because her lectures weren't just about playing the Symbolum, but were so much more complex when it comes to enjoying the certain details of music, or also becoming the important, or also like being able to appreciate the art and music in general. So I'm very grateful that I could spend around 5-6 years under this professor. She also prepared me to my future study at the Janáček Conservatory of Music in Czech Republic, where I was studying under this professor, under Dr. Daniel Skala, who has been another great luck in my life. Thanks to which I think I'm pretty certain, thanks to which I found enough brave and enough boldness to become the Symbolum student also in the United States. Daniel Skala is also Czech renowned composer, Czech renowned Symbolum player, and he's been doing so much progress when it comes to Symbolum, and I'm very proud to be his student. And after that, when I was studying in the Janáček Conservatory of Music, I've been developing a dream of studying in the United States. However, as you can tell, in the United States, Symbolum is not a very common instrument. And I was trying to find a certain major for myself to study. I couldn't find any Symbolum major at any university in the United States. However, I didn't give up. I sent out around 200 emails to different universities asking the simple questions. Hello, is there any chance that I can study together with the Symbolum at the university, at your university? And even though people and the professor and admissions office were super nice, they usually replied to me, but they said, we are sorry, you cannot study the Symbolum with us because there is no major for it. We can offer you other instruments, but not Symbolum. And since I was being quite stubborn and I didn't want to study exactly a different instrument, I wanted to start with a Symbolum. So I was kind of persevered. I persevered, and I was lucky enough to find Fulbright Czech Center. And they helped me and provided me with tip to one professor in America, in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Her name is Marcela Fafle, and she's also from Czech Republic. And when I sent the same email to her, she got very excited about this, and she said, come to our school and we can figure it out. You can become a Symbolum student at our school, and you can be involved in our music activities, and you can study here, which I've been extremely proud and happy about. So this is how I became, and I'm very proud and very happy to say that I became the very first Symbolum student at the university level in the whole United States. And I study at Northern State University. So here you can see a picture of me from my very first day when I arrived to Northern State University, when I unpacked my Symbolum. And I was just so excited to be here and to start this amazing adventure, this amazing, fulfilled, and very adventurous chapter of my life. And so I don't have to only talk about, so you can also have a chance to hear more music from me, which I think is also very important, so you can get to understand this instrument better. Right now, I'm going to play another piece for you. I'm going to play a piece called Bioral Plains, which in Czech means Za našima humny, by important Czech composer Jaromír Dadák. He has been very important when it comes to Cimbalom because he composed many critical pieces which helped and kind of improved the skills of Cimbalom players, because he's been challenging us to play more complicated, more complex pieces. But besides that, he was also a collector of folk songs. So this is one of them. And as I will tell you later on, that Cimbalom is also deeply connected with the folk music, with the folk culture in the Middle European countries. This is one of the examples how can be a folk song be taken and under his amazing composition styles and skills can be transformed into a great piece of music. So this is going to be Jaromír Dadák, Beyond Our Plains, or Za našima humny. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed your dadak za našima umny. And now it's going to be time to share something from the Symbolum's history. Let me pull up the presentation for you, and I will just continue with it. So, before I came to the United States, I didn't like history, to be honest. It was very redundant for me. We spent so much time on memorizing certain dates, and I didn't understand why history is important to study. However, since I came to the United States and I've been surrounded by amazing history professors as well as friends who were very excited about the history, I realized that history might be very helpful for ourselves, as we can learn from the history, as we can put the history into right context. And most importantly, as history can be just a great story. So right now I would like to share with you the story of the Symbolum and how it all happened. It's very complex and it's very long, and I will try to make it brief as we don't have that much of time to cover everything, but I hope you will be able to get good enough grasp of the most important milestones within the Symbolum history. How it all started. Imagine a great empire, great Assyrian empire. This Symbolum history can be dated all the way to 4,000 years ago. And the first depiction which we have and which we are able to remain was from the city Nineveh from the 9th century before the Christ. And you can see here in the presentation on the right side, the first depiction of the Symbolum. It was quite different from the Symbolum I am playing here, but the point was there. You can see that the Symbolum they usually wear this instrument because they were having a straps. So they put it around their hips, and either they played it by a wooden stick, so the sound was more ringy, or they were striking it just by their hands. They were plucking it. Then from the Nineveh, the very important period for the Symbolum history is the migration period, thanks to which Symbolum got spread all the way to the Europe. And it was through two important ways, through Eastern Europe, through Western Europe. And in Eastern Europe, it got there through the Portuguese ports, as well as Spanish ports. And when it comes to Western Europe, the people migrated on the land and they brought the instruments with them. So thanks to this continuous development and continuous history spread, the Symbolum was able to get pretty much everywhere in the Europe. In the 16th and 17th century, Symbolum became very popular and very important feature when it came to religious music. And when you saw the aristocracy in this part of history, you can also find the instrument being there, sounding there, providing a lot of entertainment for the people. So it's very great to imagine that even during those times, Symbolum played an important role when it came to culture of those times. In the Baroque, there was a person who was called Pantheon Habenstreit, and he was such a great performer. He was a professional musician, and he was also passionate enough that he developed a great instrument, a new kind of Symbolum. This Symbolum was named Pantaleon by his name. However, no matter how great this instrument was, it was kind of impractical. It was very big. They said it had more than 200 strings, and it was almost 300 pounds of weight. So it was very impractical when it came to studying. And he didn't have that many students who could pass on to other generations. And even though he played around Europe and he was very famous in concerting and performing all the way in all different countries in Europe, his instrument wasn't that practical, so it didn't perceive all the way until these days. And Pantaleon Habenstreit came into oblivion together with his instrument. However, the Symbolum was still utilizing and developing in different European countries. And it's very important to mention that in each of these countries, the Symbolum was being developed in a little bit different ways. They were using it for different occasions. They were using it more for concert music on one side, more for entertainment music on the other side. And this led all the way to the Hungary, which is important to mention that Hungary is the birthplace of our modern Symbolum, as I said at the beginning. In Hungary, the Symbolum had a huge popularity in general. It was a very popular instrument, and nowadays, when you come to Hungary, you can also hear that Symbolum is almost being a national Hungarian instrument. You can also study at the Music Academy of France Liszt in Budapest, which is amazing. And Hungarian people are very proud about it, and they accept Symbolum almost as a regular instrument. They can put it on a stage together with piano, with violin, with guitar, all those other instruments you can think about, and it plays the same important role, which I think is still very cool. And it's kind of sad that nowadays we don't usually have it. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm here and trying to spread the word about the instruments so we can be more developed in this way. we have this sentence, which is record from 1635, saying lute player, violinist, harpist, and cymbalom player are playing dance music. And this is exactly the evidence for the sentence I just said a few moments ago, that cymbalom was put in the same place as other instruments. Lute player, violinist, harpist, and cymbalom, they were all playing dance music. So it was an important part of the culture for entertaining purposes. In that time, it was also very common that cymbalom player was also a performer, was luthier, as well as composer. So these people were true experts because they knew the cymbalom, they knew the instrument very good. They knew the structure, they knew the development. They knew how to compose for it because they played on it. So they developed a very specific and characteristic style of composing. And because of their efforts, nowadays I can be here and playing this lovely instrument because they helped it a lot tremendously. In 18th century, there was a little bit of decline for the cymbalom because pianos were being developed. And when you look at a piano, it has pretty much stable tuning system. It's big instrument. It's very easy to make. The development of it has become so professional, so developed that it almost covered the other instruments because it was more convenient to play the piano. When you see me playing the cymbalom, I just have my hand and mallet and I hit the string. So I'm in total control with the tone and with the string. When you come to the piano and play the keyboard, there is such a complicated process when it goes all the way from your finger all the way to the string. And this mechanism is pretty much very accurate and very well done, which we cymbalom players are lacking. But on the other side, we can be very free when it comes to controlling our tones, controlling our strikes, and controlling our music in general. In isolated parts of Hungary, the cymbalom kept a very important folk identity. And this kind of created one of the nowadays misconception about the cymbaloms, and that cymbalom is mostly a folk instrument, which is not true, as I just told you about the rich cymbalom history. But in this time, since the aristocracy was not able to reach all the way to the smaller parts of Hungary, Gypsies or Roma people were keeping cymbalom for themselves, and they found it very convenient because they could play different pieces on the cymbalom. They could play in the bands, they could play harmony, they could accompany themselves, they could play the melody. So it was very, very good for them. They could make very good money, and it just added a super nice sound to the whole folk band. However, it's important to mention that cymbalom is not just folk instrument. Over here you can see a picture of typical Roma people folk band when cymbalom players are playing nowadays. And also these kind of bands, very similar bands, we have also in Czech Republic, which are called Cimbalom Muzika, literally cymbalom bands, but which are just these kind of bands where cymbalom plays an important feature. And they are usually consisted of these instruments, as you can see in this picture. And don't get me wrong, I love folk because I've grew up surrounded by folk music. I played in various bands and I enjoyed it so much. However, I also believe that cymbalom has many other potentials, as when it comes to art music, and as when it comes to classical music, as when it comes to experimenting with other styles of music. So I don't want to be only connected with the folk music, and I want to get more, I want to get further. I'm going to experience more, and I want to share this amazing power through this lovely instrument. And what is very important to mention, as I said at the beginning, that cymbalom is Hungarian instrument. However, it was developed by a Czech luthier. Here we have it, Josef Václav Šunda, who was originally from Austrian Empire, which is nowadays outskirts of Prague. And in 1874, there was a very important music exposition. And he introduced the modern version of cymbalom, the same instrument as I'm playing here. Very similar, at least, let's say. And this instrument was brought onto 4 legs. This instrument was added to amazing damping system, which was brand new for the cymbaloms. All those ancestors didn't have any muting system. So when you played, you usually have to use your arms to mute the strings. He also made it fully chromatic, as well as he added a certain range, and he changed the layer of the strings. And nowadays we are keeping his traditions and playing this version of cymbalom. And thanks to him, the popularity of cymbalom rapidly increased. It is said that in that time in Hungary, there were around 20,000 cymbalom players. And it was a good custom that if you were in a family of aristocracy, and if you were an aristocratic daughter, you either played the cymbalom or the piano. So I think it was very cool at that time. And cymbalom, since it became more popular, was also more recognized by important, great composers throughout the history. For example, let's say Geza Alaga, who is not very famous generally, but who is very critical and important when it comes to Symbolum music, as he wrote different schools for Symbolum education, as he wrote etudes and the very important development literature we can play and we can grow from. And also Ferenc Liszt, he used it, he composed some pieces for Symbolum, as well as Claude Debussy, Zoltán Kodály, Béla Bartók, or Igor Stravinsky. And with Stravinsky, there's one great story that Stravinsky loved the Symbolum that much that he even purchased his own instrument. And I always like to imagine it, how Igor Stravinsky, with his very specific temperament, with his very crazy energy, was practicing the instrument, practicing the Symbolum because he loved it so much. And it's a very great story for me because I love Igor Stravinsky as well. He's one of my favorite composers. So it always makes me laugh that he loved the instrument as well. And enough of talking for now. That was for the Symbolum history. And let's move to the present, because I'm going to play a piece for you by Milan Slimáček, who is an author who is still alive, who was born in 1936, who is a Czech Symbolum composer, not only Symbolum, but he wrote a few Symbolum pieces that became very progressive and I would say important in our Symbolum literature. I'm going to play for you Suite for Symbolum number 1, which was also a mandatory composition for one of the last Symbolum competitions, international Symbolum competitions in the Czech Republic. So enjoy Milan Slimáček and Suite for the Symbolum. So here you could see a different sound, a different version of using the Symbolum during the performance. Let me continue with the presentation, and we're gonna move on to our next point, which is gonna be Symbolum in different countries. As I said at the beginning, we have some people watching from China. And in China, the very important instrument even nowadays is yangqin, which is the Symbolum, which is the ancestor of Symbolum, which is very connected, very deeply connected with the Chinese culture, and which is still very popular and has many Symbolum players. They usually use wooden mallets or bamboo mallets, which create a very interesting sound. I have these mallets with me, and maybe when I get at the end of this section with the Symbolums from different countries, I can show you how it sounds. So maybe I might even bring you to the China. In Korea, we have yanggum. Again, you can see that we were using wooden mallets. In Japan, we have koto, which is very interesting because they don't have any mallets. They were just using their fingers. And this instrument is still very, very important in nowadays Japanese culture. You can see it. You can see the people performing these days in Japan in various occasions. You can hear it in Japanese movies, Japanese music. So it's very interesting to see that it's still being kept into nowadays. In Thailand, we had kim, so you can see how the kim looked like. In Middle Asia, in Arabic countries, we had santur, which is one of the oldest, and let's say the oldest ancestor of the Symbolums, which has a very characteristic sound because this instrument is also tuned by quarter tones. So it makes it sounds very Arabic. And when you listen to this instrument, it will bring you immediately to Arabic countries. So sometimes when you watch any Arabic music or Arabic music movies, you can hear this instrument with its very characteristic sound. Then we have Canon from Turkey, also used in Lebanon or Greece. Then in Ukraine, we can see Symbolums called cymbali or cymbalki. This instrument is more developed than the other ancestors. As you can see, it's already on the legs, but it doesn't have the damping system. So the Symbolum cymbali players in Ukraine has to use their arms to mute the strings, which kind of creates a very gentle and very nice and very almost like a swan movement. Like when you hear them and see them playing, they're very pretty behind the instrument, and I like it. In Romania, we have tambal, and you can see this amazing picture by a Roma guy who is performing entertaining music. So we can see it. Symbolum nowadays can be a very important feature when it comes to entertaining people, and it's still being used quite frequently. In Spain or Italy, we had psalterium or salterio. Some of these instruments were also nicely engraved, and they were super ornamented. They were added by gold features, and they were almost like a gold. They were almost like a treasure. It wasn't just a treasure by looking at it, but it was also a musical treasure of the Italian, Spanish, amazing Renaissance culture and the period. Then in Germany, we have Hagbrecht, which is very famous, very popular ancestor of the Symbolum, still being used nowadays in Germany, which is mostly diatonic. Some of them are actually even chromatic, but there's a big difference between Symbolum and Hagbrecht as well. And in England, or even though in the United States, we can heard about dulcimers. This is one of the version of the dulcimers, which is also can be either chromatic but mostly it's usually diatonic. and they use these wooden mallets. And you could maybe encounter some people playing this instrument in the United States already. And in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, but in other European countries, Middle European or Eastern European countries as well, such as Romania and so on, we can find a Symbolum, which in Czech we say Cymbal. And this is the very traditional model, the traditional version of the instrument you can get if you buy your own Symbolum in the Czech Republic or in Slovakia or in Hungary. This one with the folk engravements. And right now, I'm going to play another piece for you. I'm going to play a song by Leoš Janáček, who is one of my most favorite Czech composers, who didn't write many songs for Symbolums, unfortunately, because he focused on different stuff. However, this piece, which was originally meant to be played for piano, is very, very beautiful when it comes to Symbolum performance. So I'm going to play number 2 from this movement called An Overgrown Path. It's going to be called A Blown Away Leaf. I hope you'll enjoy this as well. Thank you for your attention. This was beautiful Janáček and his blown away leaf. And now let's move on to another part of my presentation, which is actually going to be talking about my Symbolum mission in the United States. And the main reason and the purposes why I'm actually there and what am I trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. So why am I in the United States? Because I would like to spread the word of the Symbolum, of the instrument, which is not very common here. And there's not that many players, and there is no one who can actually study it at a university. So that's very important for me that I can start bringing this amazing history, this amazing tradition, this amazing feature of my culture and bring it here and share it with American and with the world audiences. Let me see if I have pictures here. What the main purpose of my missions here, the main events I'm trying to do are concerts, lectures, presentations. I was having some pictures prepared, but it looks that I have a different presentation from this point. So I'm going to at least describe it to you, and maybe if I found them later, I can still show it to you. So I've been trying to organize many concerts within our university, within our town of Aberdeen, within different American cities, within different universities, going to tour with my friends, with another American composers, with other American musicians, and trying to cooperate as much as possible. I also provided many lectures about this instrument, kind of lectures like this, so people can know more about this instrument, as well as presentations. My favorite part when it comes to doing music with the Symbolum in the United States is definitely cooperations. I've been cooperating with many different musicians. I was having prepared the pictures for you, which were including a banjo player, which are including Chinese pipa player, which are including drum players, which are including many different university ensembles, such as symphonic band, such as percussion ensemble, such as orchestra, and such as piano. I played with the guitar, with other many instruments, with other many musicians, which all brought me different ideas of how can I perceive music, or how can I be immersed with music. And I've been enjoying this so much, and I would like to keep it as much as possible, connecting more people, connecting with more musicians, and playing different things. I also like to experiment a lot with different music styles. For example, with jazz, I attended many music lectures here. I was even taking jazz lessons with our professor of jazz at our university. I've been trying to cooperate with my very great friend, Aldous Ulvak, who is a skillful piano player, who is a great jazz composer, as well as with my friend, Eduardo Mendoza, who is from Bolivia and who is also very passionate about jazz. I've been trying to put more initiations when it comes to new compositions. I've been trying to find composers who have been composing in America and who are well known and who are trying to spread their words through their amazing skill of composing. And I found one. His name is Anthony Plog, and he's right now finishing a concertant piece for Symbolum and Woodwind Ensemble, which is going to be premiered next semester with our university, and which I'm super excited. It's going to be a big project for my next semester. I've been also trying to compose a little bit, as well as my friends who were very amazed by the Symbolum when they heard it for the first time. So I hope this is going to remain for the future, and we're going to develop more pieces, and we're going to push it forward, which would be very nice for me. I've been also trying to record different things. I have a YouTube channel called the Cimbalom Guy, in which I've been publishing some of the videos I've been making. I am having so many ideas, and I would like to record daily. However, since my schedule is very dense when it comes to my university requirements, I cannot do it that often, but in the future, I'm sure that I will record more pieces and more things, more different stuff. And the most important thing to say at the end, that this all has been such an amazing adventure. Right now, I will have to find the presentation I wanted to share with you originally, because there is one very important part in that presentation that's talking about my friend who is actually going to play in me in a bit. But before of that, I would like to share with you the video I made with my friend, whose name is Aldous Ulvak, and who is a great jazz player. He's a student here at Northern State University. He's been playing piano since his early age, and he's developed such a very specific composition and a musical style. And I met him, and I remember, like, when I showed him the Symbolum for the first time, I was like, Matěj, this is cool. Let's try to do something. We can cooperate. We can write some songs. And luckily, he wrote a song which we worked on together. And with that, we had a chance to tour last semester. We went to Kansas City and we played this piece for the university audience at the University of Kansas. And let me find, I hope this is this one. So give me just a few seconds. Yes, I think this is the correct one. And you're gonna hear a song called To Be Determined by Aldous and me. which we performed in many different places. And why it's called to be determined, there's one simple reason for that, and that's because every time we play it, it's a little bit different, and we add something and we change the structure of the piece. So we weren't sure how to call it, so we decided, hey, let's call it to be determined, and it actually worked out good. So right now you will have a chance to hear the piece called to be determined. I hope you will be able to hear it correctly. So this was me and my friend Aldous, my amazing talented friend Aldous, who helped me to push me in many different musical ways and musical styles, and I've been enjoying cooperating with him so much. And since we got to this chapter when I've been showing you kind of different styles in which Symbolum can be used besides the classical music and maybe the folk music as well, now I would like to welcome my very amazing friend whose name is Eduardo Mendoza, who is from Bolivia, South America, and who's actually going to introduce himself. And together we're gonna play a piece for you. Let me pull up this slide so you can see him, and he's gonna say a few words. Edu, you can come on the stage and it's yours. Just go around.
Ahoy, camarada. I would like to start first by spending just 30 seconds. Maybe Matěj, can you hold the microphone just like this? Okay. I'm going to spend 30 seconds just to clap for all the pieces you have played so far. So if you are in your house or you're watching it somewhere, I encourage you to clap with me, because that's an awkward part when you're presenting over Zoom or over social media. You don't get to hear the feedback. But imagine just like there's a lot of people clapping for you and for all the awesome presentation you have been having so far. Like Matěj have said, my name is Eduardo Mendoza, and I am from Bolivia, South America, which is funny because it's just in the middle of South America, right? You said Czech Republic is in the middle of Europe, Bolivia is in the middle of South America. We speak Spanish. See, I think I don't. Like Matěj, I have had the necessity to share my culture, to create these connections, and I'm super happy I have had the opportunity to meet him. He's such a talented musician, and well, as it concerns for me, I am a self-taught Bolivian instruments musician because I play a lot of Bolivian instruments. On the saxophone, I am a Latin Grammy scholarship recipient of being awarded with a scholarship by the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation 2 years in a row to continue my studies at Northern, because I am promoting Latin music. So it's in the future. Please stay tuned. Matěj and I are gonna make a Latin song, I promise. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this. Is it the last song? Okay, I really hope you're enjoying with this presentation and the music we have prepared for you. Well, over here it has already snowed, so that's why we have decided to make a Christmas tune. So what better Christmas tune than Amazing Grace, that brings the Christmas spirit and brings the love and the joy. And I guess through this piece we're showing the passion we have for music and our friendship too, like the friendship we have developed and the common goal we share.
Thank you so much, Edu, for these kind words. And as he said, we're going to play Amazing Grace for you in our arrangement when we're going to try to incorporate Symbolum and saxophone together. So I hope you will enjoy this piece. And this is one of the last pieces I have prepared for you. So enjoy Amazing Grace by Edu Mendoza and Matěj Číp. Thank you so much, Edu. I very appreciate that you were supporting me throughout the whole night, and then you helped me to produce this amazing music, this amazing grace. It's been such a pleasure for me to play with you. And now we're getting closer to the end. I wasn't able to keep track with all those questions during the night, so I probably will answer them right on after I finish. But right now, I prepared the very last songs for you, and this is gonna be Kapris number 5 by Nicola Paganini, by a very famous Italian composer. He originally wrote pieces for violin, but this one I will play on Symbolum. It's a very technical piece, and he wrote it maybe even for the purpose of showing off, as he was a great performer and he was performing all around Europe, and the fans were just going crazy because of him playing. So now I will play the Caprice number 5 on the Symbolum for you. thank you so much for your attention. That was pretty much it, what I had prepared for you from the musical point of view. And now let me try to pull up the questions if there are any. I can see there are some notifications. And let me see, I can answer some of them. I will go through and I will see, I will pick some interesting ones. Oh, I have a question from David and Gerard. Could you please play the extra strings, your Symbolum, so we can hear these notes? Yes, sure, it's gonna be my pleasure. Let me switch to this mode so you can actually see the Symbolum view and you can watch me. I'm gonna play for you the C major scale, 1 octave in the bass, and then from the bass I'm gonna go all the way down as it allows me with my strings. So this is 1 octave of C major in the on the lowest section of the Symbolum. And now if I would play the 3 extra strings, these are C, B, B flat, and A. So you can tell that the sound is very robust and very strong. Let me get to another question. What is the difference between your 2 sets of hammers? So as percussionists, usually they change between different mallets, between different hardness and softness in the mallets. So the same thing happens when it comes to alternating with our mallets. I have these 2 sets which I've been using most commonly. One of them is more harder, one of them is less harder, more soft. And I've been changing them when it comes to different music because of my needs. And what is also important to mention that it's not just only about the hardness of the mallets. For sure, it plays a major role, but you can also develop different sounds using your technique, either using your finger technique, which has been very popular for Symbolum players, or using your wrist technique when it comes to playing the Symbolum. Another question from Bethany Sromoski. How does one hold the mallets? It seems very different from how one would hold mallets for other mallet percussion instruments. So I'm gonna show it to you right now. Grab the right pair of mallets. And this is how the Symbolum mallet look like. So there's a spot where I can place my index finger. And this is how I grab them. And I said there are 2 ways of playing. I can either use the wrist technique, which is technically using the most part of my wrist, or I can also combine with the finger technique, which is very similar to percussion technique when you play snare drum or any other percussion instruments. This is a very good question from Itsuki Takahira. What do you think is the most challenging thing when it comes to playing the Symbolum? And I like this question because when I get these questions, there's so many things that comes to my mind. It's not just only because of the playing, because you have a different layers of the strings. There are some tricky parts, for example, when it comes to E flats, they are all next to each other. So when you play pieces, when it's a lot of E flats in the music, we make a lot of mistakes because it's always hard to put our hands all the way across the other side of the Symbolum. But also the difficult part is the tuning. You have to tune your Symbolum all the time because it's not as stable as piano. So you have to spend a lot of time on preparation. It's also heavy. And when you're a performer like me, which is doing most of the things by myself, it takes a lot of energy and I have to get ready for everything. I have to pack my instrument, I have to tune my instrument, I have to find car, I have to find someone who can help me to load the instrument. I can go to the place and then I repeat the process all over again. I think, as Friedrich Nietzsche is saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think there's something, especially with the Symbolum, because of this, I think I developed a big zeal for the Symbolum, because it's not just only about the nice and beautiful things as the music is providing you, as the Symbolum sound is providing you, but it's also about a lot of sacrifices you have to make. But I'm sure the more you make, more of the sacrifices you make when it comes to Symbolum, the more you love the instrument. So thank you for this question. Let's check out other questions. Any plans? Oh, it just disappeared. I cannot find the question I was just looking at, so I hope you're not going to be offended. There's a lot of thanks and greetings. I'm very grateful for it. I like to hear that you guys like it. I'm very honored by that. Oh, there's one question from my good friend from China. Is it hard to remember a piece which is very, very long? And I said, yes, it is. As I think it's very similar with other instruments when it comes to long pieces, especially modern art pieces. They are atonal, they are not very melodic. So it can be pretty difficult to remember the whole piece. But again, the everyday practice, the repetition, kind of the thoughtful repetition, the deliberate practice when you know what you're doing and you're trying to analyze the pieces while you're studying some certain piece, I think that helps a lot and can help even when it comes to such a long piece to memorize it. Thank you for this question. And I think that should be it from the questions. Yes, I see just thanks and greetings. I very appreciate it. Thank you again for your attention. And I think that's pretty much it what I had prepared for you. And I hope in the future we'll be able to see each other in person and I can perform to you. You can also come to the stage and I can show you the Symbolum to you. I can explain to you more specific questions. And I'm excited, which for this time, I hope it's going to be soon. So I wish you an amazing rest of your night. And thank you again for your attention. It's been a pleasure for me.